welcome to the Fortress.
Oh gosh.
How does it feel to be in here?
It feels really good. It feels like a out-of-body experience, to be honest.
Guess what, though? We've got... have you ever heard of a therapy dragon?
I think so.
I'm just going to bring him over very cautiously. He's a bit nervous. He's on my arm. Can you see this? There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, give him a little stroke, Pete. Give him a little stroke.
Oh.
He's happy to see you. See? He's not scary at all, is he?
No, he's not. He's pretty cute, to be fair.
It's only me you have to worry about.
Okay.
Not at all, Pete. Not at all. It's lovely to have you in the Fortress. And this...
Good speaking to him.
And all on a day where we've all been in a hot lather because the rumour, just hours ago, it was put to bed, but the rumour was Kylie was going to climb onto Madonna's celebration stage and do the... What's that segment called? The
orgy.
contest?
I'll call it the orgy segment. Like
pretty much, actually.
Yeah.
Pretty much like an orgy. Lots of bare-bottomed dancers fawning all over Madonna and whoever the sucker, the guest is at any given time. Yeah, but it didn't happen, Pete.
I don't think she was going to do that. Like, Kylie is too conservative to do that.
I can't imagine it either, because at the Rebel Heart tour, you'll remember Madonna, when she was in Australia, when she was in Brisbane and in Sydney, she sort of shouted out, "Where are you, Kylie? Where are you, Kylie?" Because she wanted Kylie to come and do that banana segment.
Didn't she cover Can't Get Out of My Head, didn't she?
She did in Brisbane.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, she did. And it made you realise Kylie's pretty good because Madonna's version was, definitely second rate compared to Kylie.
Kylie's definitely an artist that is... She's still, like... don't know how to explain it, but she's still up there, whereas Madonna isn't quite there. Because Kylie kind of knows how to work the system.
Well, yeah, but the Celebration Tour has given Madonna a redemption.
Yes, I saw it last month.
You saw it?
Yep.
Ah, you were in the
October
stadium at the
17th.
O2? How was it?
I liked the show, but I feel like it could have been better. I mean, I don't care about the Madonna fans, but the ending was pretty abrupt. It was quite of, like... It wasn't the best ending, you know? She has this outfit that I don't think is the best kind of outfit to end the show. So
she's still doing... There's a medley, a trio, isn't it? Bitch on Madonna.
Yes, but at my show, her mic got cut off, so she couldn't perform music. So she couldn't even say goodbye to us. She was just off the stage, and that was it.
Was Gaga seen behind the scenes with a big pair of scissors?
That's a big debate that we got to have, because Gaga has pretty much copied Madonna throughout her whole career.
Wow, okay. More than inspiration, copying.
A lot more, yes. I mean, look at Star Was Born, you know, she wanted a movie career like Madonna had. And even, like, have you seen Madonna's interview with MTV during Blonde Ambition, where she's, has a teacup with the ponytail?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so, like, Gaga's copied that shit so much. Cyndi Lauper, she studied everybody.
But Madonna had too, you know. That's the funny. She'd studied.
Yes,
all of them,
Madonna did, but Madonna is still
stars.
kind of original in a way, if you kind of get me.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it depends. It sounds to me like you're a bit younger because I was around.
I'm 23.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, look, and I totally take your point. Madonna might seem original, but I was around at the time, and there was no doubt that Michael Jackson was absolutely her biggest. The primary influence at the time. And
like,
then,
we all know that Michael is a pedo, right? Like, yeah, she kind of, like, got inspiration from Michael Jackson, but I feel like Madonna's main influence was kind of, like, everything from the 80s. Like, Bowie, Michael, even, like, I forget her name, Cyndi
Lauper.
Yep, even that, like...
Well, they were rivals back in the day.
Were they?
All right.
See, I'm a new Madonna fan.
If I have Madonna on my left and Cyndi on my right,
Hmm?
Then it would be a Tim sandwich. No, actually, it would. They'd be telling me. They'd be telling me very clearly there was no rivalry. What they'd be telling me
Yeah.
is the media beat it up. But the media, absolutely, there was many stories with, and most of them predicting that Cyndi Lauper was the one with the longevity, and Madonna was the flash in the pan.
See, Gaga worked with Cindy in 2010. She did a campaign with Lindsay. I think it was for Ampha. It
Mm.
was about, yeah, and you can just tell that Gaga was, I don't know, she's just like, I see the influence and it's kind of uncomfortable and I want to get into it with you today.
Yeah, well,
I've got a
okay.
lot
Well,
to say. I've got a lot to say.
I'm glad to hear it. So just freshen up that scotch there. And I want to take you back a little bit, Pete. I'm curious with all these bold statements like that, you can see Gaga is someone who copies, not just gets influence. But you still say Gaga's your number one. Tell us
Yeah.
about that. Why is Gaga your number one?
She pretty much introduced me to music when I was 9 years old. With Poker Face, Just
Mm.
Dance, and her Glastonbury performance. That was what made me a fan. And I was pretty much up Gaga's ass for like 8 years. And it wasn't until 2021 that I started to see, yeah, she's not a fraud, but she copies.
Yeah, certainly not a fraud because she's got the talent. But tell me this, were you one of the classic little monsters that felt like you were ostracized, that you were bullied, that you were
Yeah,
on the fringe?
yeah, totally. I mean, so I pretty much like, so I became a fan of Gaga around 2008, but I didn't become a real a hardcore fan until I was like 10.
Hmm.
But I didn't see through the Madonna stuff. It wasn't until 2021 where I started to see that she was copying.
Mm,
She
mm.
studied everybody. Bowie, Michael, Madonna. She studied everybody.
She has, but like I say, and I know that you are younger, I can promise you that Madonna did exactly the same thing. Even
I know
Elvis,
Madge did the
all the
same, but
greats.
Madge, she doesn't make it obvious like Gaga did, because Gaga would deny that she copied Madonna.
What about Madonna versus Marilyn Monroe? Surely that's obvious.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there. But Madonna would say it. She would speak out and say she's got inspiration
Yes.
from that. Gaga
Yeah.
wouldn't. That's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I
She's
take your
too
point.
defensive.
She's a little bit humorless these days, isn't she? She doesn't have a great sense
She's
of humor anymore.
right now. I'm kind of not in love with Gaga right now. If I'm being honest, I don't
Oh,
like what she is. I don't
is it because
like.
she abandoned her fans? She hasn't released music since Chromatica. That's a long time.
Look, look. She knew what she was doing with. She knew what she was doing for early career. She knew. She studied Michael. She knew
Mm.
how to make a fan base, and she used that. And when it wasn't convenient to her anymore, she dropped it.
Is Gaga going to come back with a new album anytime soon? Is that on the
She
horizon?
will. Yeah, she will, but it won't be what it was. She's changed now. Art pop really changed her.
Is that because she was burnt? I remember her being very disappointed by the art pop era.
Yeah, because she was burnt out and she was betrayed by a lot of people. And I think we can both agree that the Madonna and Gaga feud was like a stunt that was planned. Because Madonna included Born This Way in the MDNA documentary, and Gaga would have had to agree to that.
I think Elton John was a big influence in that as
Oh,
well.
Elton John is a complete and utter dickhead. He's not a nice person.
Something definitely went on. I don't think it was staged. I think,
You
but look, put
don't.
it this way: around
Tell
the
me your
same
opinions.
time, Pete, Gaga was becoming quite defensive with many people, like Perez Hilton. Who can blame her
And
though?
I trust him.
You trust Perez? Oh, Pete,
I
that's where you
think
and I
he's not
differ.
lying for what he says. He said that Gaga got extremely drunk. She did a lot of drugs that night, and she snapped. I mean,
Mm.
Gaga. She's a very, dare I say it, narcissistic person. She's very narcissist.
She doesn't
She's.
present that way, though, does she? She tells everyone that she's there for all the
Have you seen the
world's.
texts that leaked with her and Kesha when they were speaking about Katy Perry?
No,
You got to
tell me
read
about
that.
those. Yeah.
So basically, Gaga was like, I don't like Katy Perry. She's not a nice person. She annoys
Oh,
me. And that leaked in 2017, and Gaga had to make an apology. Gaga's not the
wow.
greatest person alive. She
Yeah.
uses all this bullying crap, but honestly, she's not the greatest person.
She said Perez Hilton was stalking her house and in the stairwell and bought her. That's right. It was Gaga lived in an apartment block, and after they had their falling out, she said Perez bought one of the units
She
in the
used
building.
Perez
You think?
to get, she used him a little bit to get where she wanted to go. And when he wasn't useful, she cut him off,
Wow.
which I don't blame her for because she knew what she was doing. She studied this shit. She knows what she's doing. She's not stupid. She's probably, dare I say it, probably more intelligent than Madonna. Gaga went to private school,
Wow.
you
That's a
know?
big call. She seems like a
Yeah,
really
she studied this
not
shit.
right. Okay. So are you still a fan? It doesn't sound
I
like
don't
it.
feel like Madonna. I mean, I love Gaga. She's my number one. I
Yeah.
adore Gaga. She introduced me to music, but I see the bigger picture now. That I don't blame her. Like, she studied this shit. She knows what she's doing. She knows when to use her fans and when to not use her fans. I don't blame her for that.
Mhm.
I mean, like, she knew that she had to change her image after art pop, so she did her thing with Tony Bennett.
Yes.
And any other pop star wouldn't do that because she studied this shit. She knows what she's doing. And I admire her for that, but Gaga doesn't speak to me anymore like she used to.
What do you want her to do next?
She's got the Joker movie coming up. I think that was going to be good, but
Oh,
after that, I think maybe
yes.
a disco album. And I think she needs to
Right.
speak to the fans again because she's lost them.
I was thinking, Pete, not so long ago, I was thinking if I was a Gaga fan, and I am, but like one of the little
Yeah,
monsters,
I'm the biggest
I would.
Gaga fan. I know everything about her.
Well, if I was a little monster though, I would be feeling quite frustrated because even though
I am.
I admire that she's done lots of things. The
She's
Tony
this
Bennett
kind of
album,
like.
lovely
Sorry,
live
carry on.
stage lovely live stage performances,
Hmm.
films. I love the fact that she's diversified. She played in the what was it, the Versace movie? I think it was. She played a role in that.
How's the
Was it
Gucci?
Versace? Oh, Gucci.
How's the Gucci? Yeah.
Go, Tim. Go, Tim. I know my fashion. But point being, if you were a little monster waiting for the next pop record, you've waited a long time and it feels like you don't mind waiting if you think she's got that focus, but it feels like she actually has no focus
I
on
don't
music
think she
anymore.
has. I mean, Kamatka was a big letdown. I saw that tour live, and it was the biggest letdown ever. It
Was
was
it
just
boring?
a basic pop show.
Right.
It wasn't a Gaga show. Have you watched her previous tours?
I've never seen Gaga live. I've never watched one of her
You're
tours
missing
from
out.
beginning to end. But yes, I've seen lots of live performances. I love her. I even loved when Applause came out, which I know she wasn't a fan of that album, but I loved all the live performances for that. I thought they were brilliant.
She was. This is a controversial opinion, but she was pretty much forced to not like art pop because Elton John was calling it a bad album, and I feel like she is so up Elton John's ass that she won't see the bigger picture.
But also around that time, I'm clutching at memories here, but I think I remember her thinking there was some sort of conspiracy with the record company not promoting the album as well as they could have, and it
No, I
reminded me a lot
disagree.
of. It reminded me a lot of when Michael Jackson blamed the record company for Invincible. And in both cases, hear me out on this, Pete, in both
Yeah,
cases, it was actually, I felt like saying to Michael, if he was my friend, and Gaga, or if she was my friend, guess what? It wasn't the promotion. They just weren't particularly good albums.
I
Invincible
agree.
was, it was fine, but it was not a, it was definitely his poorest album. And it was the same with Gaga. At the time, it was her poorest album. I think
I don't
Chromatica was
think it's her
great.
poorest album. I think it's a really good album, and she had a lot of passion for that album. But
Uh huh.
the promotion was good, but the public didn't connect with it.
And do you know what happened at the time? Raw came out at the same time as Applause. And I remember my kids were very young at the time, and they didn't care about Applause. They'd asked me to skip that, and they'd asked me to play Raw again.
Yeah. No,
Everything
that's
was
sad.
Raw.
But I mean, I wasn't really vibing with Raw because I mean, Katie's an amazing artist, but art pop was so ahead of its time, and it's one of my favorite Gaga albums ever. I just feel like they promoted her, but the way she was going on, she was too like, I don't know how to say it, but she was too artistic. Like she was
Yeah,
playing this character,
yeah.
and people were fed up with it.
Look, I'm going to totally agree with you. I think she got a little bit too highbrow
She
with
was
that our art pop album. I think it was a
big-headed.
little bit pretentious.
Yeah.
Pete, it's been absolutely lovely chatting to you about Gaga. We're keeping it short and sweet because you were nervous to come into the Fortress, as many people in the
I
past
mean,
have
I'm
been.
pretty good now.
You're feeling good?
Yeah.
Stretch that neck for me. Go to the left. Go to the right. Jane Fonda taught me this. Go to the back.
Yeah.
Go to the front. And then take a puff on that joint.
I'm gonna do that right now. I'm good. I want to get into some deep shit with you. I want to speak about a lot of stuff.
Well, I'm going to invite you back to the Fortress at some stage. Does that sound okay? I wanted to give you a little warm up. Tell me though, before you go, has it been nice to be in the Fortress?
It's been good.
A lot of people ask me, what does the Fortress look like? Can you describe the Fortress to people? Is it dark and mouldy to you, or do you like my fairy
not.
lights?
You're a very open-minded person. You're not offended by different opinions. Like even with Kylie, like you can listen to like different opinions and you won't cut people off. You're very invested, and I don't know, you're kind of unique in a way because a lot of podcasts, they are kind of biased and they won't allow second opinions, but you're kind of the only podcast that allows that.
It's lovely of you to say, Pete. I appreciate that. But I'm
I
telling you,
love
that's
your
just...
podcast. Honestly, Tim, let me say this.
Mhm.
I've been listening since 2021. Your first episode I listened to was when you interviewed one of Madonna's dancers. I think it was Surviving Madonna.
Right.
What was it called again?
I can't remember, but probably Kevin Stay or
Yes.
Carlton. Yep.
And I listened to that and I fell asleep to it. Your comfort. The questions you ask, you let people speak, you don't interrupt, and that's what I love.
I am flattered. That is very lovely.
No, I love you. I love your podcast. Like, just the other day, like, I also want to speak about the episode you did not long ago with a guy, a Madonna fan called, I think he was called Man Madonna.
Madonna. Oh, dear.
Yes, I've got a lot to say.
I'm going to say, Pete, you've just finished telling people that I'm very fair. I'm going to say something awful. Do you mind?
Go for it.
Madonna is an absolute fruitcake because we had this pretty awesome... Well, we had this awesome discussion, right? You would have heard the discussion that we had. I thought it was... And don't get me wrong, he presented beautifully. I love that he was a straight talker, but off air...
I don't think he's straight. I don't think he's a straight talker. I think he's full of shit.
He sent me some very vicious messages off air. I can't remember why. He probably had a reason. I think I upset him in a later podcast. I can't remember, but whatever it was, he was absolutely vicious.
He's got celebrity worship syndrome, let's put it that way.
Doesn't like Gaga, does he?
No, he called her a bad singer, and that really pissed me off. Because I love Madonna, but Gaga can sing better. Let's put it that way. She can sing better than Madonna.
No one could accuse Gaga. Have you seen her Sound of Music?
Yeah, of course
medley?
I have. I've seen everything.
It's amazing. Like that.
Yeah, Madonna can't do that.
Well, now you're putting me in a hard spot. Madonna sang Evita. Madonna did Evita.
I know, but Madonna can't hit those notes, can she? I love Madge. I saw her live last year. Sorry, in October last month, sorry. I love Madonna, but Gaga's got the pipes.
She is extraordinary. I'll
She
give
may
you
be a
that.
fraudster. She may be a bit of a fraud, but she's got the pipes.
I feel
Because
like we
with
should get that on a
Madonna,
t-shirt, Pete. She's a bit of
yeah,
a like a photo of Gaga. I'm a bit of a fraudster, but I've got the pipes.
with Madonna, he couldn't admit when Gaga did something right, and that to me is very biased and kind of sucking Madonna's ass in a way. Kind of
He was
kiss ass in
talking about her
Madonna.
collaboration with R. Kelly too, and he
Oh,
said that.
okay. I've got a lot to say about that. Got a lot to say about that.
Go on, you're standing in some corridor smoking a joint, so I'm aware of that, and that's cool. It's absolutely cool. Let's just not scare the neighbours. All right, what have you got to say about Gaga and R. Kelly?
She did that for controversy. She knew what she was doing because she also was working with Terry Richardson, who is he's been accused of many things, but I think she wanted controversy and she got that, and she deeply regrets it now. But that was a very embarrassing moment for her.
Look, we've got to be
Did you
fair to
see
Gaga.
that,
When she worked with these people, the allegations were not well known. It's possible she didn't know about them at all.
Tim? Did you see the SNL performance with R. Kelly and Gaga?
No.
That is a very disturbing performance.
Is it?
They had a
Why is
music
that?
video because he was literally having having sex with her on stage, pretty much. You
Mm.
are a rape victim yourself, and now you change your tune all of a sudden. You remove the song. You act like you never met him, and it's like kind of own that instead of removing the song.
Did she ever talk about it or apologise?
She did, but that was only so she could win. She could win the Oscar for Star Is Born soundtrack.
Mm. Right.
It wasn't. I don't feel like it was sincere. If that, I would have a different opinion. But because she was campaigning for an Oscar, she put out this statement.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Pete, what do you do in life?
Huh?
What do you do in life? What do you get up to?
I'm currently working, but I'm going to university next year. I'm going to study
Oh,
filmmaking.
really? You're going to study
I don't know
filmmaking?
if your listeners know, but I'm a little bit drunk, so I'm a little bit my words are a little bit slurred. But I'm there, and I know what I'm talking about.
Every second guest is inebriated. It's fine. So you're going to go to film school. What type of films do you want to
Yeah,
make?
more so kind of documentary kind of styled films.
Wow. Okay. Documentaries about things that have happened, like, I don't know, like a Dharma documentary or something like that.
More so, I would say pop culture. Um, yeah, maybe true crime.
Mm,
I've acted before, but it's not really my passion. I'm kind of more into the behind the camera stuff.
right. And do you watch a lot of film?
Yeah, I watch a lot of film, a lot of Madonna films. I won't lie.
Oh,
I'm kind of
dear.
on a deep dive in Madonna's career right now. I'm
Well,
going
I don't
through a
want to
lot of
be
stuff.
rude, but you need to aspire to bigger and better than those films. Much
Yeah,
bigger and better.
not the greatest, are they?
Oh, she's got a very disturbing back catalogue, is what I would say,
I
of
love
film.
body of evidence. I do like that.
Really?
I
Yeah.
like
Have you?
it.
All right. Have you seen Basic Instinct?
No, not yet.
Okay, so Body of Evidence is a Basic Instinct ripoff. It was Madonna's attempt to be Sharon Stone, even though they admire each other, so that's fine. But if you watch Basic Instinct, then it's like eating. Let me try and think of a UK reference here. Like whatever the dodgy version of a Mars bar is, that's Body of Evidence, and a Mars bar, the real deal, is Basic Instinct.
You see, with Madonna, I feel like she wants to be this movie star. Maybe not now, but I kind of feel like during her career, she kind of wanted to be a movie star more than a pop star, and she was really craving that. But
Oh yeah.
she knows she's not good, the best of actresses. That's why she keeps trying to prove herself. Like she keeps trying to do these movie scenes, even in Celebration. She's kind of acting in a way. It's a controversial opinion, but I feel like Madonna probably isn't the best actress.
No, it's not
Do you
controversial.
agree?
Yes, I do. Very much so. I think that she's admirable for her hard work. When Madonna puts her effort into anything, she gives it
No.
1,000%, and that's why she goes well. With acting, it must frustrate her because I know that she takes time out and she puts everything into it, but the results still aren't there because she can't escape the identity of her, which is huge. She's always Madonna. Pete, can people find you on social media? You can say no too. You can say, I don't want people to find me. But do you want people to
Yeah,
find you on socials?
they can find me. It's Pete underscore 2013.
Okay. Pete underscore 2013. That's on Insta, is it?
Yep.
It was on Judge Judy Justice, and some man said, they were dissing me on the gram. They were dissing me on the gram. And Judy's like, what are you talking about? I was getting dissed on the gram. I was getting dissed on the gram, ma'am.
You've got to watch the UK version of Judge Judy.
The what version?
The UK version. It's been cancelled now, but it's a guy called Jeremy Kyle. You've got to watch it.
Oh, I can't stand that. He's a big homosexual, vicious.
He's a fucking knob. He's crazy.
Acid-tongued
UK
fool,
version,
isn't he?
pretty much.
Yeah, no, I've seen him. Look, I wanted to like him because I nothing wrong with a theatrical acid-tongued gay judge, but there's something a little bit narcissistic about him. Judge Judy, she's interested. She pulls out the story. She wants the story to be the star, not herself, and that man doesn't. So no, I'm not going to. Jeremy, what was it? Jeremy Lloyd.
Jeremy Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, that's the one. Yes.
He's a right wing left person. So
is he really a judge? By the way, I don't know.
He's like who's the guy that died this year in America? Jeremy.
Oh, do you mean Jerry Springer?
Yes, he's like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jerry Springer was super intelligent. But I mean, I suppose
a lot of that was fake. But with Madonna, I feel like she's still trying to prove herself even today. I feel like there should have been more.
Yeah. Well, like I say, Gaga might have been out there with the big pair of scissors. It might have been her fault.
Yeah, I really do think that she will appear in the Celebration tour. I can see it happening because she went to the Sweet and Sticky tour. Another thing with Gaga is with the whole gun stuff. Madonna refused to back down, whereas Gaga got rid of her guns with the Born This Way ball.
Oh.
Yes, and I kind of like Gaga. She kind of backed down. She backs down because she's afraid of losing her career.
Right.
Whereas Madonna doesn't back down. She kind of doesn't give a shit. I mean, if you skip past American Life, of course she kind of backed down with that, but...
You think?
I mean, she didn't release the video, the original video at the time.
Oh, I see. Right. Yes, she did create an alternative. That's true. That's
the first time she backed down.
I don't know about that, Pete, because I remember with Justify My Love and Like a Prayer, there were certainly alternative versions screening of those two as well.
Tim,
is that a back down?
Something I've got to ask you. I've been wanting to know this for years.
And I've been dying to hear the question.
You said that she apologised during Girlie's show in Australia. What did she actually say?
Okay, all right. You can look this up yourself too. It's in the Girlie show, and a lot of people disagree with me. All right, I'll put that out there.
Okay.
I had lots of mail about this. She never apologised. Well, I believe she did because I was there in the audience when she's segueing from Express Yourself into Deeper and Deeper, and she has that breakdown moment with her two, Nikki and Donna. And she says something along the lines of, sometimes you've got to keep telling people over and over and over until they get it. Then she says a small throwaway line, which none of you young people will get because you weren't there, and it was looking very seriously like she could be cancelled, forever. Yeah. And she said, sometimes you get a little mixed up, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so
Yeah.
I think for Madonna, that's as far as she'll ever go for an apology. But I think that was her way of telling the whole audience, and it was a recorded
Yeah.
screening, that she might have got the message was right, but she might have said it the wrong way. That's how
Yeah, she
I
was scared.
interpreted that.
Yeah.
It was serious. Like, this was before cancel culture, and when Erotica came out, honestly, she went away for a long time before she released bedtime stories. And that's why I called it an apology album. Other people disagree, because she came back with music that was very somber. Well, if you were living at the time, there's nothing to disagree about, to be honest. It was a very deliberate tactic. She went from erotica to something subdued and beautiful. And of course, it sowed the seeds for Ray of Light as well. It really did. It was a beautiful album. Anyway, so that's what I meant, Pete. Thank you for asking the question.
Yeah, that's kind of with Ray of Light. I feel like that was Gaga's. She tried to do that with Star Is Born and Joanne. Mm-hmm. She kind of wanted her kind of apology album for art pop.
Yeah. Now, Pete, we've been in the Fortress for a long time. I've got to go and feed baby Igor now.
Okay.
Is that sad?
A little bit, but you go for it.
I don't want you to be sad, Pete. I've really enjoyed talking to you. You're welcome back in the Fortress any time.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, when I'm a little bit more sober, I'll probably get more into it, but I'm a little bit drunk, a little bit slurry, so...
I want you to be more affected. I want you to be more intoxicated. I want you to be more high, okay? Don't come on more sober. That's boring.
Okay, if I'm more high and more drunk, I'll probably get more into it, but I've only had a couple drinks tonight, so I'm not totally there, but...
I'm going to send you a red buzzer, okay? And just listen, hear this out. When you're totally off your rocker, I want you to hit that red buzzer. It's tied to a vein in my right arm. It will, and even if I'm asleep, it will alert me, and I'll run to the studio. I'll set it up, and I'll pull you into the studio, and you can talk to me when you're completely off your rocker. Does that sound all right?
That is a deal.
That's a deal as you wander the corridors. Pete, it's been beautiful talking to you.
It's been good talking to you also. It's kind of like a out-of-body experience, because I've been listening to you for 2 years now, so it's kind of crazy, but it's been a goal for a long time.
Coming to you from the mountain fortress of pop culture. You're listening to Time to Talk.
I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh, Walt Disney.
Well, g'day and welcome to the grounds of our fortress. Remember that little kerfuffle we had not so long ago when we were under attack? Well, it's taken a lot of cleaning up, but you can probably see around you things are... Well, it's springtime, essentially. We've been reborn. Isn't it beautiful? Getting back to nature. Something that we do at this time of year here in Australia, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you're at least taking off your shoes and putting your bare feet onto the earth. Reconnect. It's Christmas time, and they always go on about how busy that is for everyone, but for many of us, it's a time to stop, to pause, recalibrate, and I believe you should start by taking off your shoes. Put your feet on the ground. That's what I'm doing here. My feet are directly on the dirt. Well, you're in for a treat. We're about to hear the most informed review of the Celebration tour that you could possibly hear by a superfan who's been to, get this, more than 109 Madonna shows in his lifetime, and he ain't done yet. He's still got more. He's travelling, probably right now as we speak. He's on a plane going from Europe over to North America, where Madonna just hopped off a plane not so long ago, I noticed, making her way through the airport with all the paparazzi following her as they tend to do. And tell me this, have you heard Extension yet? the Tension album re-released with all the extended singles. Well, we're going to talk about that as well. And do you care if Kylie wins another Grammy? Does it matter these days? You do, don't you? Yeah, just nod your head. You know it probably doesn't matter, but do you want her to win it? Yes, you do. And finally, for many of you who entered our contest, today's the day. At the end of this episode, we will announce who has won the Red Vinyl Two Hearts single. And win, lose or draw, thank you to all of you who rated the show. That was the point of the contest, really, was to get people rating the show, leaving comments about the show, because if you do that, it just helps us avoid commercialising the show, which we're getting a lot of pressure to do, but we're trying really hard not to do that. Now, I've only got one request of you. Grab a drink, find somewhere to relax, avoid all distractions. Don't have your phone in your hand, don't be looking at your iPad, don't be looking at Netflix while you listen. Find a spot, close your eyes, and let's share some time together.
Whenever I listen to Tim and his panel of guests, my toes begin to curl, and I feel just the right amount of tingling all over my aching body. Now, let's get back to the show. Oh!
Hello, Kylie Minogue. How are you?
Very well, and you?
Just great. And now, who are you wearing? Let's start with this.
Givenchy.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. Does anyone, when you wear this on stage, what do you wear on stage?
Not a lot, usually.
Yeah.
If I'm perfectly honest.
So would this be too much for you?
Nothing's too much. But it's the first time I've worn Givenchy Couture, so that's a thrill.
They love you in Australia. You know that.
Well, I am Australian, so...
That's it. Because they talked about you. I don't know what you had done, but
You were just there.
I was just there, and every interviewer asked me about you. You started on a soap opera.
Yeah.
See, a long time ago, it seems like.
Long time ago, and then started performing, doing singing, and I'm still doing that, strangely, but this is my first Grammys, so...
Is it exciting?
Yeah. I just performed at the Brits a few days ago, which was very exciting as well, but I think your first event is
always
a little different. So.
We have to take a break. Last thing I'm going to ask you, then we're going to go right to a break. Who do you want to meet here tonight? One person. Who would you like to meet?
Dave Grohl.
We'll be right back.
Michael, welcome to the Fortress.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you here, and you're here to help us unpack a little bit of exciting news, aren't you?
Some very exciting news.
I'm going to let you share it with everyone. I'll let you share it in case anyone's been hiding under a rock.
In case anybody's been hiding under a rock, our Australian worldwide national treasure, Kylie Minogue, has been nominated in the Best Pop Dance Recording Grammy category with her song Padam Padam.
All right, that deserves a round of applause. Yay, listen to that crowd going off.
It does.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Look, I'm right, aren't I? We all know that she's won a Grammy before, and I think it was 2002, and it was not for Can't Get You Out of My Head. It was for Come Into My World.
It was.
I don't think she's been nominated since then, has she?
She's actually been nominated 6 times.
Oh!
In 2003 for Love at First Sight, 2004 for Come Into My World, 2005 for Slow, 2006, I Believe in You, and then in 2009, her album X was nominated in the Best Dance Album category.
Wow. Okay. Well,
So that was 5 times. This is her 6th time.
Wow. I got that wrong. I didn't know she'd been nominated that many times. Wowee. Okay. So, she owns one. That's fantastic.
She owns one.
As I understand it, the Grammys came to being in 1958, okay, and they were known as the Gramophone Awards back then, which, by the way, I look at the statistics for this podcast, and at least half of you listening were probably around at that time and remember the Gramophone Award, which later became the Grammy Award. So, but look, and as far as I know, and the reason I'm going back in history is I was interested, I was curious to know, how do they vote for this stuff, right? And there is actually an academy that decides the nominees and then the final outcome. So who's she up against?
So she's up against the other nominees in this category are a song called Miracle by Calvin Harris featuring Ellie Goulding, One in a Million by BB Rexa and David Guetta, and another Australian, Rush by Troye Sivan.
Oh, no. Oh, what am I going to
Yeah,
do now? Oh, God. I didn't know
yeah.
Troy was in there. I don't know.
Troy is in there.
Plenty of you would have heard the podcast where I said, what did I called you all a rude name, which didn't go down well, by the way. By the way, it was a joke for those of you who still haven't got it. I think I said, shut up, you old bastards, and listen to Troye Sivan. Troye Sivan is, have you heard his record, Michael? His latest album?
I've heard the first two singles. I'm a fan of Rush. I'll be honest. In my playlist, I always put Rush right after Tension. There's something about the song Tension that makes me think of Rush, and Rush makes me think of Tension. So I usually listen to those in a pair.
I agree. I really do. But listen, if you haven't heard the third single, I'm terrible with the names of songs, but there was single number one was Rush. Then there was the second, the latest one, and the video clip, unbelievable, like so good. So please have a listen. Oh, wow. And what's he nominated for? Which song? Oh, Rush. You said that already.
Rush.
Yeah.
Yep.
How exciting. Okay, so I don't know where to barrack, but early days, but do you happen to know, is there a favourite in that group, or what's the biggest song in that category, would you say?
I don't know that all the voters have heard all of the songs, and sometimes name recognition helps. So I think that she's up against really a Calvin Harris name and a David Guetta name. But in 2004, when Come Into My World won, she beat Madonna and Cher. So, never count our Kylie out. I think she's got a chance.
But look, there's something to be said about sentimentality. When it's a group of peers, essentially, who are going to be voting in this category, Kylie's reputation and I'd say she's got to be the sentimental favourite for hanging in there, for having such an enormous hit so, late into her career. I reckon there'd be plenty of people thinking, yeah, Kylie deserves a nod here.
I agree with you. That's why I said I think she's got a chance. I think you're right. She's a sentimental favorite. I did say that name recognition counted for voters. I think she's had a really big story with, countering ageism and having a hit. And I'll be honest, the Vegas residency, that being big and in the news and happening right now couldn't hurt.
Yeah. And I know we've got a lot of American people listening, but I'm going to say it. Americans like to reward people who come their way. So the fact that she's paying a lot of attention to the United States at the moment is not going to hurt. It's exciting. And what I find really interesting too, just in case somebody hasn't connected the dots here, Calvin Harris is one of the nominees you mentioned. And of course, you could argue, nurtured him when he was a nobody.
She was the first big name artist that he worked with.
That's right. And they produced In My Arms together. And I'm sure it was him he produced a bit for X, but Heartbeat Rock, I think it was him that she was referring to when, I don't know if you can all hear those messages, by the way. This is an example of what teenagers, well, he's not even a teenager anymore. Can you hear ding, 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 ding? Teenagers don't just write one text message. They don't do it. They go, hi, Dad, send. Just letting you know that, send. I'm here, send. Can you also do send? This is what's going on, in case you're wondering why the beeps are happening. And yeah, I'm an unprofessional person. I didn't mute my phone. But it was Heartbeat Rock where he decided to put in the gap, like the silence.
Yes, she did talk about that.
Yeah, that was him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He had already had a little bit of success, but she was the first big name, and he has actually credited her with that extra attention that, propelled him.
Oh, and it did too. I remember at the time. I mean, look, for me, I didn't know who he was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Calvin Harris. But, like Madonna, Kylie has that skill of sussing out the up-and-coming talent too that are compatible with her brand. Here's a hard question. What do you reckon, Michael? I mean, I can't help by being excited by this, but should we care? Do the Grammys mean anything anymore?
That's a great question. They may
Do
not
you
have
care?
the stature that they used to. Yeah, I care. But I'm a music person. Like I love pop music. I love music. I love keeping up with the trends. And, I'm of a particular age as well, So, I've grown up with the Grammys being the music recognition awards. So to me, it does mean something. And it really, for artists, it means visibility, especially if it's a televised category, especially if you win. Like there's always a big bump in sales and streams and things like that. So it just creates another story for her. And I think it does lead to some more recognition and credibility. So yeah, I still think it has quite a bit of meaning.
Oh, I'm going to go along with you. I think they still matter. Look, this question about, the Grammys don't matter anymore, it's existed since the beginning of time. They were considered a little bit of a second-rate venture when they first started as the Gramophone Awards. And then, of course, you can point to nearly any year. Milli Vanilli, 1990, for example. And then when they had to take that off them because they weren't the voice on their recordings, people said, well, that's a reflection on the Grammys. There's been so many examples. Hey, Michael, here's my most exciting question. Should they ask her to perform?
100%.
Of course they should ask her.
100%.
You and I need to make this happen, Michael.
We do.
So basically, hey, Grammy people, Kylie's over there. She's around and she's more than happy to perform.
Seriously.
Just to make it really clear, Michael, the public can't vote for this, so there's nothing we can do to really promote it except for share things on social media like you did, which is how I came to be in touch with you. You were sharing the mere fact that she has been nominated. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should be doing a bit more of that.
It couldn't hurt as far as like the name recognition goes, but there are requirements to be part of that recording academy. So it's, engineers, producers, artists, and then there are certain requirements and I think a minimum dues. So it is limited, but it couldn't hurt. Like
can't hurt.
It never hurts to campaign.
Now, I always love talking to an American Kylie fan, so I'm going to take the opportunity if it's all right with you, Michael. How long have you been a Kylie fan? Of course. For?
I actually became a Kylie fan when the Locomotion came out. But I liked I Should Be So Lucky. I just didn't know it was Kylie singing it. I remember liking that song on the radio, and then when I bought the cassette after the Locomotion came out, I was hooked. I was a fan. But I was actually... I was 11 then. I was already obsessed with Australia. I had done a report in elementary school on Australia, and I was obsessed. And then I loved trains. And so this person comes out who's from Australia, remaking a song that I already liked. And I was just, that was it.
About a train.
Yeah. And then, so I started, I bought the first album, the second album, and it turns out like, I found a tape of old songs I recorded off the radio years after that, and a ton of them were Stock Aitken Waterman songs. So I just realized, I was a Stock Aitken Waterman fan, and but Kylie is my main person. Yeah.
You're secretly British, I think.
I love British girl groups. Like I'm a Sugar Babes fan, Girls Aloud. Yes.
You like British pop.
British or Australian.
Yeah, British pop has I don't know. I think it still does to a degree, but certainly in the 80s, it had a very, very distinct sound.
Yeah.
Right. So, is it hard being an American Kylie fan? Is it difficult?
It was until Can't Get Out of My Head came out. Because you had to rely on imports. You had to explain to somebody if you wanted to clue them into who she was, that she sang the Locomotion. And as much as I love that song, she was so much more than that. But people are just like, oh, okay, you like that cheesy girl. And so you're trying to kind of defend it, and you get defensive a little bit. Like, hey, wait a minute. Like this person is like a legend around the world. So, but once Can't Get Out of My Head came out and iTunes came out and music became more globally available, it was a lot easier. But I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Australia for New Year's 2013 when she did her fashion book signing. And so I went to that in Sydney. And in America, I'm considered obsessed. So I'm standing in line with these other guys who are in line to get their fashion book signed. And I'm a nobody there. Like, oh, I've been to 8 Kylie concerts around the world. They had been to 30. So that was a little a little humbling, but I mean, it was cool to
Your
be around
fandom
people
was
who
dwarfed because of the
it
environment.
was.
Yeah, I got it. I
It
got it.
was.
Yeah, but there has to be a score for degree of difficulty, right? There has to be. And your degree of difficulty is
True.
higher than ours. So I reckon it evens itself out, my friend. I am
I hope
always
so.
a huge admirer of American Kylie fans because I don't know what it would have been like to, because I know they released Kylie, then Enjoy Yourself. As far as I know, Rhythm of Love didn't really get a release there
No.
and a lot of albums in between. So I always thought if you're an American fan pre-internet and you were somehow getting your hands on this stuff, you
Mhm.
bloody well made an effort. Much more. I made an effort too over here. I hounded record shops by ringing them every day, going, "Is it there yet? Is it there yet? Is it there yet?" For every single and every album. So I made an effort too. But I think the award for effort really goes to you and any other American fan that's stuck in there for all that time. I have to ask you this before you go, otherwise wouldn't be doing my
Sure.
job. Is Kylie now much more recognizable and well known in the United States because of Padam, or is that a myth?
It is not a myth. It is not, because I even have people. So everybody at my job knows I'm a Kylie Minogue fan, and most people recognize the name if they're over the age of 30 or 35. But they don't really know her music as well, except for Can't Get Out of My Head, of course. But now, like, I've had a couple of people come up and say, I love Tension. Like, I had somebody come up and be like, I am hooked on that album. It's my running album. And actually, I've had more than one person say that to me. So
Wow.
I definitely think that it has opened up her audience here.
Must be like sunshine for you after all those years in the
Oh, I
wilderness.
love it.
Wow. Are you seeing her in
I
Vegas?
love all this attention.
Good on you. Good on you. We need people over stateside doing the work for us. We need, so people like you are important. Are you going to see her in Vegas?
I am. I'm going March 8th, and when they opened up more tables, the original date that I was going for, me being the big fan of Australia I am, was January 26th. So I ended up actually getting a second table on January 26th.
You know that's
So
Australia
we're going
Day, don't
twice.
you?
That's exactly why I was going for that date.
Oh, right. Did you have to sell a kidney?
Yeah, I'm going to be paying that off for a while.
Jesus,
It's
I don't
unreal.
I'm not sure if you heard our most recent podcast, but Minor Misdemeanor was there for night one, and they told us all about that experience. But the thing that's resonating with me still after that chat is the expense. It was like I knew it was a luxury, but I didn't know. For example, they ordered a 10 booth table, he was saying, and that was expensive enough, but then they have to spend $3,000 on food and drink on top of it. They have to, they're obliged to. That's insane.
Yep. They charge you for it before you even get in. So when they check you in for the table, this is what I've read. I've been keeping up with sort of the chat because my tables are both 10 top tables too, but I'm not paying for the entire table. Like, I have the table for March 8th filled, and I'm going to have whoever wants to join for January 26th, then they'll pay for that. But the food and drink spend that you have to pay for, the $3,000, when you check in for your table, they charge your card at that point while they're checking your ID when you walk in. So you
Incredible.
prepay it whether you order anything or not. And the prices for the drinks are ridiculous. Like, it's, $25 a bottle of wine or $200.
In a very perverse way, that's good, because I was thinking $300, like, you divide 3,000 by 10 people, that's $300 per person for drinks. God, that's a lot of drinking, I would have thought, but not if there's $200 a bottle, I suppose.
It's
Wow.
like one bottle's worth there. Yeah.
It's insane. But anyway, it will be worth it, Michael. It will be worth it.
I hope so. Like, I'm going to confess something. So we got a gold table for March 8th. And one of the reasons I impulse bought January 26th when more tables came available was because a diamond table was there. And I was like, I'm not taking any chances of not being as close to the stage as possible. Even though it's a small venue, I just can't stand the thought of not being at the stage, because every concert that I've been to of hers, except for one, I've been at the stage.
Wow.
In the other trip that I've done when I've flown to see her, like in Europe, is I don't go see her in Paris or London. When I saw X, I saw her in Rotterdam, or when I saw Fever, it was in Manchester. So it's not as much of a crowd or a tourist destination that you're competing with.
Oh, that's clever. So if you're going to travel all that way, don't go to one of the main hubs. Is that basically the rule?
Yep.
Yeah.
That has exactly been the rule.
I was about to apply that rule for the first time when I thought there was going to be a Tension World Tour, although that's looking more and more unlikely at the moment. But I know,
what is up with that?
I know, what's up with that? Well, actually, it's your fault, damn you, Michael. It's you Americans. That's what she's absorbed with you people at the moment. I'm like, I've got my hand up. Kylie, hey, you haven't been here for yonks. Hello.
They've only been teasing us with this Vegas thing for 10 years. I mean, it's literally been a decade.
Well, yeah, I know. But now I'm trying not to be jealous, but she just seems to only love the Americans at the moment. There's another. But anyway, point being that
I'm not going to be sorry about that for 5 seconds.
No, I can't expect you. You've been waiting. You've more than stood in the queue for long enough, I have to say. But yeah, when she does eventually tour again, I'm thinking of going to see her in Bangkok or somewhere like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Only because I feel like maybe that would be along your lines of not going to a major hub, although Bangkok's probably a bad example, but somewhere else in Asia, I suppose. Yeah.
And maybe tall people won't be in front of you.
Did you just say that?
I mean, come on.
Hang on a second.
It's demographics.
That's so wrong. I can't laugh at that. That's terrible.
As somebody who has stood on the floor near the stage and had to still stand on my tippy toes, and I'm not super short. I'm 5'10", 5'9.5". To look over somebody's shoulder, like, that counts. Like, you think about that.
That's a terrible thing to say, Michael. It's almost as bad as if I said, yeah, but I might get a chopstick in the eye.
Well, if it fits.
It's so wrong and so bad.
When the tour announcement comes out, I guarantee you'll remember that, and it would be part of your decision-making process.
There's already so many things to consider when buying tickets for a Kylie concert now. Height by population is a new one. Okay, I'll add it to the list of things. Very briefly, Michael, this is your first time in the Fortress. I hope you've enjoyed it. Can you tell us a little bit about Michael's story? What do you do for a crust? What do you do for work?
I am a content writer for one of the leading event companies. So we put on trade shows and help associations put on trade shows. And so I write case studies, emails, just how-to articles for our brand, called Freeman.
And you're enjoying life by the sound of it?
You know what? I'm very, very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have a job that I love. Financially okay, until I go to Vegas. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here. Are people able to look you up? And I will add in, and I always do, you might not want people to look you up, so that's fine. But if you do want people to look you up, where can they find you?
I'm happy for people to look me up on Facebook. They can just, type in Michael Lee, last name spelled Lea. It's not super common, the last name. Or on Instagram, it's michael.lee99.
Beautiful. Michael, I hope we have you back in the Fortress sometime because you are a super, super lover. So,
I am.
Probably came out wrong. But you're a super Kylie fan is what I was trying to say.
I loved being
Although by all reports.
Like I said, I'm so flattered. I'm so flattered that you asked. So anytime.
My pleasure, Michael. Thanks for being here.
This is Rudy Palma from just outside New York City. Tremendous Kylie fan. I've been on the podcast before. Thank you for having me back. I think it's absolutely wonderful that Kylie has this second potential Grammy win for Best Dance Recording. The only thing that I would say is that it would have deserved very much for a pop nomination as well. So I'm actually a little half-hearted, but I'm happy to see her name on the list of nominees. For those of you who are outside the States, you may not realize just how stale humdrum and by rote the Grammys have become. I used to never miss them. Now I make a point of missing the telecast. And by the way, I don't think this category will even be announced on the television. So I'm sure we'll find a way, those of us who want to, will find a way to find footage of her accepting her win. And we're going to say when she wins. We're going to manifest that because let's make it happen for her. But really, it's what makes it special is that this has been a hell of a year in the States for her. It's funny that, 2 decades ago, she said, if the States happen, if something happens in the States, so be it. I'm not going to break a sweat over it. And look, well, actually, it's been about 3 decades since she first said it. And the truth will out. And she's gotten the last laugh. She has never broken a sweat. She is enjoying every minute of this year. And she has made a dent, inroads in the United States in a big way this year. And this is just yet another cherry on top of that. I also think that the Hot 100 is meaningless. It doesn't really matter. TikTok has seen to that. The most important thing is that the song continues to get traction among a newer generation of fans as well. I just met a 20-year-old who's just discovering her and was thrilled to talk to me about it and couldn't believe I'd met her. Like he was touching me, like he was shocked that he was talking to someone who had met Kylie Minogue, and he's going through her back catalog. He mentioned Sexual Gold to me. That's cool. And that's a unique thing that's happening here right now. So this is just the cherry on top of a year of success. The Vegas run is now officially a victory. So yes, it will be wonderful to see her take this award home too, even though the Grammys are just business. Why not see her add a well-deserved second Grammy to her shelf?
Sometimes amateurs know best, and a lack of professionalism is all you'll hear on the Time to Talk show. Join Tim and his panel of guests as they wade their way through a range of news, music, and pop culture treats. Time to Talk, the show hosted by amateurs for unprofessional listeners. Amateurs, is this the best that they could do?
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.
Okay. You did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
To give her a good slap?
Yeah, absolutely.
What if she gives you a good slap back?
Well, then you get into another area. I mean, then maybe she's getting to like it, and then it becomes something else. I don't know. But seriously, I think that it's the last resort. He's not going to do it because he wants to do it.
Wait till people see this interview. Are you going to get mail?
Might get some female.
Richard, welcome to the Fortress.
Hi, well, thank you very much for having me.
You're a very good man. I know that you were driving along to a pop-up shop, which I'm going to ask you about in a moment, but I bugged you and you said, okay, I'll pull over to a coffee shop. Did you manage to get to one?
I'm actually going on the tube, but yes, I've got to a coffee shop. I'm actually in London now, because obviously I was at the show last night, and I went to the pop-up shop last night, and I'm going again this morning to see if they've got any other rare items in there.
So just in case you're wondering which concert, which pop-up shop Richard is up to, just listen to this statistic. It always blows my mind. He has been to 105 Madonna shows in his lifetime. The Celebration tour alone is 8 times so far,
yes,
with
last
4 to
night,
go.
yeah. Yep, that's correct. Last night was number 8.
Richard, do you know how many people listening are throwing popcorn going, how does this man afford his Madonna
Well, what you see, there's a
escapades, I
little
should
secret
say?
there. There's a little secret there. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rich, but I have a Madonna bank account and I pay into it every month. And I've done that since 1990. And I pay into it every month. And even if the car needs something on the car, my Madonna bank account will not be touched for it.
Hang on, so you get a paycheck like the rest of us, but a little bit
Yep.
gets diverted into a Madonna bank account.
Yes, so it's just a savings account, but it's even actually on my accounts. It's actually called Madonna. So when tickets come about, when tickets come available, I don't even look. I just buy what I want, and I get as many as I can for what I've got in that savings.
I just find that admirable. But back in the 90s, Richard, you would have only have to divert maybe £4 or €4 a week.
Yeah,
Now,
but I could travel, and it was more expensive to travel back then than it is now. Tickets are more expensive now, but travel's cheaper now.
It all evens out. How much are you putting into this account, can I ask?
Yeah, I put £150 a month in.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I mean, what a good way, because then you don't get the Madonna shock.
It's a bill. It's a bill for me. It's my Madonna bill.
The Madonna bill causes Madonna shock, though. Believe me, the last time I saw Madonna, the Rebel Heart tour, I got Madonna shock, which included the travel and the accommodation, and then you get there on time, and you've planned it all out for months, and ironically, she's not there on time. How interesting.
Yes. She's the queen. The queen, we wait for the queen.
I sat in a theatre with my young son at the time. I think he was less than 15, and we just sat there for 4 hours, and you can't leave because she might come out.
Listen, Blonde Ambition at Wembley, I actually got there at 2:00 in the morning. I saw the show, and then I came straight outside, and I sat in my spot again with some American friends ready for the next night.
Stop it. Really?
Yes. And I've just come back from, I've just been to Berlin and Amsterdam, and Berlin was snowing, and I was outside queuing in the snow.
It's such a lifestyle, though, isn't it, Richard? It's easy for people to mock, I suppose, but this is a beautiful lifestyle you have.
Listen, it's the most amazing thing to me. When I'm in that arena or in that stadium, there is me and there is one other person, and that is Madonna.
Are you always on your own, by the way, or do you take people with you?
No. I've got an husband. My husband came to Amsterdam and Berlin with me, but he didn't come in queue, so he was about 10 behind me, which was quite funny because on Instagram, I took a picture from behind me saying, "Spot Neil." People looking in the crowd for him. He wouldn't queue because it was too cold, but it's quite funny when he does come with me, and when he's with me, he actually, as the lights dim, he normally taps me, and I'm right irritated. I'm like, "What?" And he always says, "See you in 2 hours."
Oh my goodness! Well, it could be worse. He could be saying, "I'm going out to the loo. I've just picked the wrong time every time."
Yeah, true.
Does he roll his eyes? Like, is he the one dragged along to all of this, or does he enjoy it too?
He rolls his eyes a little bit. He's a massive. He's into a group called Steps, and I go and I go along with him. So, but he doesn't come along with me because of the price of the tickets.
I can tell you something, Richard. I mean, he owes you. If he's into Steps and you have to listen to that too much, I mean, my God,
thank
certainly
you.
owes you.
I need to play this back to him. That is brilliant.
You can play it back to him. What's his name? Neil, is it?
Neil, yes.
Neil, get some taste. There you go. Hey, I'm really interested to ask you about the 8 shows you've been to for Celebration, but something that dawned on me when I was about to talk to you. What's the one thing that has remained in common throughout all the Madonna shows you've been to, stretching right back to her first tour and all the way up to this one? Is there something that never changes about Madonna?
Her ability to keep the audience engaged, her ability to command that stage. I mean, when I first saw her on when I first ever saw her on the Virgin tour, I mean, the Virgin tour was very raw, very new, and she was very she wasn't very engaging, but she was very commanding, and you could feel her presence in the room. And I think every show I have ever seen, when she comes on that stage, and it isn't just because I'm a massive fan, I think it is just she commands the room.
Yeah, there's something about Madonna and only a very small select group. I mean, certainly not Steps, but there's some stars that when they get on the stage, there's a magnetism, there is an electricity, right? And even through YouTube, I can tell the Celebration Tour still has that. When Madonna first arrives, my God.
I mean, the other thing is as well, I mean, she's a precision throughout. I mean, I've watched back videos of what I've got of like from each show, and the movement of her and the dancers is so spot on. And it's been like that throughout. And I think this is what's made her shows what they are. And I do think, you know, she is groundbreaking, and I am going to blow her trumpet here. And the Blonde Ambition set the blueprint for every concert that came after. Because up until then, you went and you saw a band on a front stage. When you saw the Blonde Ambition, it was a theatre show. It was the most magnificent thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then since then, you go, and every other artist, male and female, have followed that format now.
Well, I mean, I remember Blonde Ambition. She introduced theatrics into.
Yes.
It was just incredible, and the Girly Show obviously took that a step further. And she really hasn't slowed down. She really hasn't had a dud tour. There's ones we favour, but there hasn't been a dud. I mean, she can't be a dud on stage. It's her natural habitat.
Yes, totally agree. Totally agree. And I mean, like I did the backstage tour last night, and they were saying Madonna is very private. You know, and they said when she's on tour, her family are her dancers and her crew. I mean, it was one of the crew showing us around, and they said, I don't have to say this, but she really looks after us. You know, they said she really looks after us, but she's in her bubble when she's travelling. And I'll tell you a little fact what I found out, what I was very surprised at. There is only one stage. This stage that is touring, because normally there's like two stages, like there's one setting up in one city while there's one in another city.
Oh.
This one, there is one stage, and it has travelled throughout Europe, and after tonight it will head to London, to America, sorry, from London.
Isn't that amazing? That is a really interesting tidbit. Hey, by the way, I think I saw you on Facebook with pictures of Mercy and other children of Madonna. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. Last night there was a bit of a mix-up with my ticket, and I was not an happy bunny because I was meant to be front row centre. And when I got there was a mix-up with the seats and stuff. I've been moved tonight as well. I don't know where I am tonight, but they actually moved me, and I said I wasn't very happy where I was sat, and they said, just bear with, and I think, you know, you might be happy where you sat. And the dancers that wasn't dancing came in, makeup artist, Mercy. I met David, you know, and I was in with the crowd last night.
That is incredible. So
Tell
did you
me.
pay for some sort of package, because you're talking about backstage tours? I mean, these are things that plebs don't get. How did you manage all of this?
I did the VIP package last night because I wanted the jacket. I don't know if you've seen the limited edition jacket.
Is that the
what
one
they've
that looks
done.
like the Blonde Ambition jacket?
It does, but on the inside, they're selling the one what looks like the Blonde Ambition one, but this one, it's similar sort of thing, but on the back of it, it's got the image of the cross of all the Madonnas from the Celebration logo and everything. And then on the inside, it's all photos from the sex book.
Oh, so you could literally be a London flasher.
Yes, without being flashing. Yeah, so it's a bomber. It's a reversible bomber jacket, and
wow.
there is just one made for every VIP ticket that was sold, and it was the Immaculate Collection package. So anyone who's got that, you're in for a treat.
Oh, that's awesome, Richard. Now, I know you've still got some shows to go, but I'm curious because my perception of this is that she was really nervous, as you'd expect, when she first came out, especially after everything she'd been through health-wise. But it seems like things are really relaxing into place. Now, you've been to 8 shows for Celebration. What's your perception?
Each speech she does a speech each night, and each one's a little bit different. And last night, she actually said she almost died. You know, she says, I'm actually doing a celebration, and it's a celebration of my life, and I am celebrating it because I actually almost died. And she's, and it's the first time I've actually said this out publicly. And she sort of said she woke up and she had tubes in her, monitors everywhere, and her children and her family round her. And she says, and this is the celebration tour, and we are all here to celebrate. And, you know, like each night she does a different speech. Like on World AIDS Day on the 1st of December in Amsterdam, that was so moving, the speech she did. And she told about her friends. And the images through Live to Tell, the first picture that comes up was the first person she knew, one of her best friends who died of AIDS. And the tribute was absolutely amazing. But she's embraced every city. And she's actually, another thing in Amsterdam, you know, she says, look at you're all high as kites. She says, but it's legal here. She says, so don't think you're with it, because obviously it's legal, so it's normal. And each city she said something about, which is different this time as well.
After being to that many, excuse me, frog in my throat. After being to that many shows, is there a section that absolutely stands out to you that you think, yep, this is the bit, this is the moment, this is the highlight of the entire show?
There's a couple, actually. I mean, Live to Tell. There's not a dry out eye in the house. Even I normally have ice cubes. I don't cry. If it struggles to get an ice cube out there, I had a tear. I wondered what it was leaking out of my eyes. You know, there was like water running down my face.
You know, yeah, you're not renowned for your tears, are you?
Well, there wasn't a dry eye in there. And then I've got to say, Hung Up. Wow. She does the original Hung Up. She mixes it in, but then she turns it into the original Hung Up, and the crowd goes mental. And I mean mental. So, and then also, I have got another one. Bad Girl.
That's where her daughter plays the piano, isn't it?
Mercy comes up. Yes, Mercy comes up and she plays the piano. And she does Bad Girl, and she does it so well. Because obviously she's never done it live before.
Well, we've been waiting for years, so it's quite a treat that she's singing it. I've got to say, I'd love to ask, what's her voice sounding like, and how's she looking up close?
Right. Oh, do you know, I love the Queen. I really love her. I really do. I'm sorry about this. Her voice is outstanding. Last night there was a few little bits where I could tell she was a little bit croaky, but what do you expect after all the show she's just done? And I love the fact I could hear that because it means she's live.
Yes.
You know, and because if you're further back, the screens are slightly out. And somebody was saying to me, is she miming? So then I showed them one of my videos, and they was watching her mouth and the screens are slightly out. So anyone watching it on the screen could think,
I've got to say, Richard, I went to Charlie Puth in Sydney not long ago, and the screens were out of sync as well. It's rather disturbing, isn't it? Why can't they fix that? Anyway.
It is because obviously you're looking at it, and from a point of view, you've paid all that money, you're thinking, are they singing live or not? So, yes, I totally get that. But you could even tell with some of her actions when she was dancing, her hand was up in the air live, but on the screen it was just going up.
Yes, yeah.
So her voice, yes. Now, the other thing, bless her, I mean, I hate saying this, I really do, but I could send you some pictures. Her arms are looking a little bit aged.
Her arms.
But she looks, yes, because she was so toned and muscle. She was so fit. It's like a man who's been ripped all his life. As he gets older, his skin starts to sag a little bit. But do you know what? She embraces it. She absolutely embraces it. She looks phenomenal, and I am not just saying that. These pictures that you've seen in the press and stuff, you look at my live pictures. They're live pictures. They're not edited. They're not filtered. They are Madonna.
And she certainly seems to be owning that stage too, doesn't she? Like I said, my perception is that the first few shows I was like, "Ooh, she's quite frightened." I could almost see her shaking a bit like she did at the Oscars back in the 90s. Could see that little shake happening. But she certainly is relaxed into it if the most recent clips are anything to go by.
Yes, yeah. Now, when I saw the first one, she came on and she looked really happy to be on, but then the sound went, and I think it threw her out.
Right.
She stood there for a good 15 minutes talking to us, which most artists would have left the stage. She stayed on that stage and talked to us. and it threw her out for the night. You could see that because I've seen so many, and I've seen so many opening nights as well, and it just sort of threw her. And then the second night she came on really late because there was sound issues again, and she wanted it right before she came on. And then obviously she was cut short. She finished on Rain. The fourth night was the night when I noticed she'd settled into it. And that was the Wednesday night in London. And then by the time I'd gone to Berlin, she was loving it.
She's having so much fun, isn't she?
Do you know, you can see she's on some tours, you can see she's doing it. It's a bit of a chore. But on this one, you can see. And the more I watch the show, the more I get the story. I mean, I understood the story and I understand it, but the more I watch it, the more it sinks in. And it's even at the end, everybody's going on about the end of the show is so abrupt and it's just like, you don't expect it to end there. But now I've seen the show, I do expect it to, I get it. You know,
what is that? I keep hearing this criticism of the last three songs and it's abrupt and all of this sort of stuff. What do you get that the rest of us don't?
Right. Well, she's coming on, and some nights she adds a little bit of music in it. Some nights she doesn't add music in it. I've seen both. And Celebration, which you would think she would do massively, she doesn't. It is just a clip of Celebration, but it's Big Time Madonna she ends on. And it's like all the other dancers come on dressed as Madonna. I'm sure you've seen the pictures and everything. But the more you watch the show and the more it sinks in, which I'm sure people will when they watch the video and everything, she's more or less saying, this is me, bitch, I'm Madonna. And then she just goes off.
Yeah, it's almost designed to be quite sudden.
Yes. It took me a couple to get it, but then when I watched it again and again, because I was thinking the same, I'm thinking that can't be the end when I first watched it. But now I've watched it, you know, numerous times and loved it. It's like, I know why she does it now, because it's like, bitch, I'm Madonna. This is it for now.
Almost like a ... to be continued.
Yes, and they also explain to us what the frame stands for. The frame is a window. No, the frame that she sings Up in the Air in, and then David comes. Have you seen the frame? It's like a big picture frame, big square, and she floats in it.
Oh,
She does ray of light in it.
I've seen it. I didn't realise it was a picture frame. I thought she was floating around in a box.
Well, it's actually a window.
Right.
And it's a window from the past to the future to the present.
Right.
And it's taking you through the window, and it's taking you from her past to the present, and then the future is David up in the window, because that's her future.
She, right up to Rebel Heart, was just dancing her ass off. And it was only recently that somebody told me, and I still don't know if it's true, that she had a full-on hip replacement. What's the movement like? Because she's always been so known for being, as you said, athletic, but also so bloody brilliant as a dancer. Like maybe, you know, people say she's not technically perfect. For me, she always has been. She is the best dancer. What's the dancing like on this particular tour?
Right. She's very, very smart with this. She's top half dancing. A lot of her dancing, if you watch it, you don't even realise the dancers are dancing round her, and she's doing the top half of all the moves.
Yeah.
And her bottom half is not moving as much as it used to. There's none of the when she used to do the kicks, the leg kicks and everything. There's none of those, which I missed because I've seen it on. You see it on them all, but it's that cleverly done. You will think she's danced her ass off watching it.
It still looks as energetic. Yep, got it.
Oh, listen, she's on chairs. She does, you know, references to keep it together, because there's lots of Easter eggs in this. And when you see, the more you see it, the more you see things. It's like, you know, the front stage is like the cake, you know, what Britney and Christina was on. And then...
Oh, sorry, and that she was on at the first MTV Awards.
Yes, because they used it twice, didn't they? Yeah, sorry. And then there's all the way through. You see little Easter eggs everywhere, you know, and then the chairs come on, and she does Open Your Heart, but then she walks on the chairs like she did on Keep It Together, and there's all these things, and I've noticed something different every show, and I thought, what else is there for me to spot?
And it is really lovely how she's doing mainly the original tracks. Like, I love hearing Erotica in its original form.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, and it's, normally at a show, there's a toilet break. You know, everybody knows it. There's a toilet break at every show. I can't tell you where the toilet break is. You're just gonna have to stand there and hold it until the end of the show.
Is that why so many people in the audience are cross-legged? Now I
Yeah,
understand.
definitely.
Richard, you're stalking her. I've said that in one of my previous podcasts, so I'll make that joke again. You're stalking her across to North America really soon because she's finishing up the European leg. She's heading over there. Are you looking forward to the North America tour? And do you expect her to make any changes?
Do you know what's quite funny is a few people have asked me that. One change I really hope what happens is there's a tour book. I hope a tour book comes, but I can't see it now. A few people have said that, but I think the songs fit in so well with her journey. I don't think she can. I was over the moon. She dropped Frozen. I was over the moon. She dropped Frozen because I think it had brought it down, the energy down, and Rain fit in so perfectly. Now that's one thing I think they might change. They might change the backdrops and everything because everything is for Frozen. She does Rain, but the backdrops are Frozen.
So you're
So,
thinking that the show will remain pretty much substantially the same. What about her look? Because I know she debuted this different hair recently. I don't know if she's kept it.
well, she's had 3 different corsets as well.
Oh,
So the corsets, what she wears on Vogue, I've noticed 3 different ones. The first one on the first night was a black one, and it had like a fringe around the bottom of it. And then she's got 2 like silver ones, two like really bejeweled ones as well, so slightly different. And also the Ray of Light, there is 2 suits for that, what I've noticed as well. There's one what's silver and it's all mirrored. And then the other one is like a grey mirror. And it's not just the lights on it, because I've been close enough to know, sort of see it. But she has got different things. She's got the wigs. I think I must have seen 50 wigs. There's that many wigs. But
if you don't mind me saying, Richard, there's a few wigs I've noticed that haven't been particularly flattering.
yes, and that's you're talking about Bad Girl.
Maybe when she's singing erotica, maybe I'm thinking. I haven't been
Yeah,
to the
well,
show, obviously,
Erotica
but
Bad Girl's the same one.
right, right.
And without being, because, I can't really fault her, but I don't think it is the best wig. I said we've seen drag queens with better wigs.
It just looks like it needs
They,
a brush. And I'm not. Believe me, I'm the last person in the world. I've got.
do you know? I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But they don't look like the real hair, and I think that's a problem because she has a hood
Oh,
up. When she first
oh,
comes up, she has a hood up, and she takes the hood off, and I think it
yes.
sort of it moves it, and then obviously because it's not real hair, it stays.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Look, you've
Although
got.
I'm not an hairdresser or wig expert.
Well, you and I are one in the same there.
Yes.
You've got 4 more to go, I know that, but I think that you've been to enough shows to answer this final question, if that's okay. A lot of people predicted that this would be disaster, that with everything that we saw before this tour, even before she fell seriously ill, it looked like she was on a road to destruction. She didn't look like the Madonna of old. She was behaving what many people believed to be very strangely. So people predicted this tour was going to be a dog's breakfast. What
Totally
do you?
agree.
Well, that's what people thought. Tell us
Yes.
what's the, for someone who's been to as many shows as you have, what is the legacy of the Celebration tour?
We've got Madonna back.
She
Oh,
back.
that brought a little tear to my eye. We've got Madonna back. Yeah. Gone of the days of her being hanging around with these, sorry if there's any fans out there, these stupid kids who think, smoking weed and making silly videos. I mean, at one point I thought Madonna's TikTok should have been, not a TikTok and her Instagram should have been taken off her,
A bit like Roseanne
and
Barr.
yeah, and it was a case of, like you say, self-destruction. I think what she's done is, I don't know if they're going to do the movie, what she wanted to do, and I think this is a replacement of it, and she has put her heart and soul into it, and we have got Madonna, what we all love and loved, back.
Couldn't have said it better, Richard. That's as I've watched it, it's like, you know what, she's showing them all why she's such a bloody star again, because she's doing what she
Yes.
does best. She has accepted. And I think for the past 5 years, we haven't seen Madonna really reconciling who she is, where she's at. But here, she's very much even adapting dance routines, adapting the songs, and this is acceptance. So she's doing her best work again.
Madonna's doing Madonna. And I love the references to when the girl with the mask comes on. Have you seen those?
No.
Right. There's a girl with a mask that comes on, and it's a rubber face mask, and that's Madonna's inner self. And
when she does
she
Like a Virgin, or on the bed of the Like a Virgin. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Well, that image appears throughout the show at different stages, and she frees Madonna, of her anxieties and of her inner self, and she keeps saying she remembers who she was, and that's where she's gone back to.
It's a beautiful sentiment, that's for sure. I tell you what, Richard, you are so easy to talk to. Thank you.
I told you it'd be more than just 2 minutes.
Well, that's my
You've got
fault
me on my
as well.
favourite subject.
All right. Well, look, you go back to your pop-up shop or wherever you're heading, and tell Neil he has my condolences. Well, up until a point, besides the steps fiasco, but it's been absolutely delightful talking to you, and you enjoy that North American leg of the celebration
Listen,
tour.
I appreciate the time you're putting in with me as well, because we are all fans, and I'm not the biggest fan out there, I'm sure, but everybody's a fan in their own right, so I do appreciate it as well.
Oh, Richard, you must be. I mean, what's the figure again? 105?
105, yeah.
I'd like to hear from the person who's been to more than 105 shows. Give me a break.
Yeah, I think one of my claims is, I think last night in that theatre there might have only been me and Madonna who's been to every tour.
And you're probably right. That's why it's so funny.
Yeah, well, I told David that, and I told him how many shows, and he was absolutely amazed, and like he had his picture on the stage with me. So I
What were the
actually got
kids
on the
like?
stage last night. I was on the stage.
Get out. What were the kids
Yes.
like?
Do you know? Absolutely grounded and lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't believe how, this sounds really bad, but how normal it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's reasonable to think they'd be spoiled and out of touch and all of that, but they weren't.
No, definitely not. No, Mercy James she was gorgeous inside and out.
Mm.
She really was. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people who are not a fan of the children on stage because I haven't come to see the kids.
Yeah.
And I know that's like quite controversial to Madonna, but I've come to see her. I don't want to see her kids flaunting around. But they're fitting so well, and it's not like these are my kids. They're part of the show.
Yes, they've done it really respectfully. I mean, you haven't come to see the Partridge Family or the Osmonds, as you say. So, I mean, yeah, I can understand the hesitation. But I'm so glad you got to meet them and confirm what comes through in the videos, which is that they're really lovely, lovely people.
I was, honest to God, it blew me away how grounded those kids were, and how they was quite happy to dance along with you and chat to you, and it was surreal. It really was. It was a surreal moment, and there was lovely. There was not 1 ounce of them was like they are better than us.
You continue having those surreal moments, Richard, all right? Because, I mean, you deserve it. You're a huge Madonna fan. And, she's had a lot of tours, but she doesn't tour that often. So you are absolutely in your element. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And you have a good day too, or a good evening.
You're listening to Time to Talk. Extension is out, the extended mixes. It was released on December 8, and we're dedicating about 5 minutes to it. Why? Maybe less, by the way. Why? Because that's all it deserves, is what I have to say. Mark, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm actually dubbing it Stention, to be honest.
Stention? Oh, that's harsh. But sort of deserved, right?
Oh, I actually pumped myself up to really, really give this one a go at enjoying. I listened to the disco one yesterday, and I quite like the disco one. Like it's not amazing, but I thought it worked quite well for disco. But I got in the car this morning and put Spotify on and headed off to the dog park, and I'm like, this is crap.
Yeah. Yeah, look, and forgive my voice as usual. I think I've said on this podcast for the past month, I'm not well. I feel like
me
such
neither.
a...
I've had COVID this week. I've been off work for the whole week. It's been
it's going round,
and it's
isn't
been
it?
my birthday as well.
Oh, you poor thing. That's not a good birthday present at all. I can come and jab you with something if you want. Yeah, look, the only thought that's in my head as I listen to this from beginning to end is why? Like, I just don't understand. I love a remix album, Mark. I love a
Yeah, me
remix
too.
album.
Like I would have loved it if they had have just put this aside and done Tension, the remixes. Like I've really enjoyed the Tension song remixes and that whole, and like not even just Tension, Padam and that Hold On To Now one. They've had a really nice 90s throwback vibe, and I would have actually even loved that as a release, even if it was just 5 or 6 of the same song over and over. Like I would have preferred that to an extended version of this album, quite honestly.
Exactly. Like I don't understand the whole point of extending the song. I mean, all it does is interrupt my brain, if I'm honest, because you're about to sing along with the part you know, and then it goes somewhere else, and not even in a satisfying different way. It's just like it literally is what it says on the box. I'll have to hand it that. It's extension. It's an extended mixes. They're just the same songs with a little bit of extra beat shoved in there. I just think, why? Why have you done it?
But I would have even expected the 80s sounding songs to have lent itself to the extended vibe, and they really didn't. They were actually the worst of all of them, particularly what is it, the thing you do for love?
Yeah,
at like 1 minute 41 after the first chorus, and it goes into its next instrumental bit. The vocal just cuts dead. Like if you go back and listen to it, like it doesn't transition well in any way. It just cuts dead. And
Very
then there's
jarring.
a part towards the end of it where it sort of does another transition into something, and I swear to God, it sounds like it was done with two cassette players. It's just awful.
I did hear some of the clunkiness in the mixing myself, actually. I've only listened to it 2 or 3 times, but I can hear that too. But look, let's just really quickly pull out some highlights, if there are any here. I didn't mind the Green Light extended mix. I thought that was not too bad.
I didn't mind that one either, actually. I thought it had a nice intro, and it felt like that's how you would see it in a tour, that particular one.
And I don't know if it's deliberate, but when Vegas High came on, I thought, hang on, they've got Can't Get You Out of My Head on this? Because the intro, again, I'm going to go back and listen. I'm still familiarising, but the opening beat of Vegas High reminded me of Can't Get You Out of My Head.
I'll have to go back and have a listen to it. I didn't get that at all, to be honest with you. But
you know
I
what?
don't like that song at all. So I was never going to, like, by the time we got to that song, I was not open to that song. I don't like it at all.
If you don't like the song, you certainly don't want a longer version of it. No. I understand that. Actually, I'm gonna toy with copyright. Listen to this.
I thought that Hands was a complete mess.
That was odd. It was really odd.
It didn't flow at all. I didn't mind bits of One More Time.
There are thousands of people across the planet, especially in Kylie world, who are saying, what a pair of miserable so-and-sos before Christmas, bah humbug.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sorry, we call a spade. And I'll tell you, I've asked the question why, now I'm going to answer it. Typical me. It's brilliant in terms of marketing. Like
completely.
Like, think of the streams, Mark, that are soaring because of the Christmas Kylie aspect, and that happens every year. They're soaring, and this will just push her up into total different territory. We might even see up to 28 million streams per month by the end of December.
It's totally designed to get plays, but I'm sorry, I'm not giving you $80 for it.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this too, that the yet another vinyl is out. Extension, the extended mixes features extended versions of all 11 tracks from the album on neon pink and green splatter clear double vinyl in a gatefold sleeve. Wow, that's you'd have to be a real collector to get your hands on this one. I know many of you have, and you can leave me a voice message.
I've been toying with it all week, and after hearing it's like, I am never going to play this in my lounge room. It's like, I don't want it. So
yeah, I'm listening to us and we are really miserable, but that's fine. That's what this show's all about. Hey, Mark.
All right, I'm going to add one more thing to it. It looks like the She-Hulk on the front cover of it.
Yeah, I saw you write that, the She-Hulk, and then I looked at the cover and thought, yeah, she does look like she's transitioning from woman to monster. I agree with you. Mark, it's been a pleasure as always.
All right, I'll speak to you later.
Well, as always, it has been a pleasure spending some time with you in the Fortress. Now, right here in the box on my desk, I have all of the names of the people who have rated our show over the past several months since we've been running the competition for the prize of, which I can't see in front of me, but it's not far away. It's a red 2 Hearts vinyl. So, hand into the box, and the winner is... it's Mark from Sydney. Congratulations, Mark. Well earned. I think he just wanted it more, didn't he? Mark had many entries in there because he wrote reviews and he rated us. Congratulations, Mark. Please reach out to us, Mark. We need your address details so that we can post the prize out to you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy December. Isn't it fun to give things away? I hope that we can reconnect again really soon, but for now, you stay safe.